Hey guys, how you going? Hope you're all doing very well. This evening I'm going to be doing an original versus remake video. This is going to be of a classic that really hasn't got as much attention as other classics such as Last House on the Left and all those kinds of films. But this is one that I saw recently and I thought I would do another one of these videos. Now I did some in the past of the classics. If you want to check them out, you have to look pretty far back. And I haven't done one for a while, so I thought I'll take this opportunity to do another one. So hopefully you find this one interesting. So this is of the classic film that was actually made by Americans but set in England, and the remake was actually set in the United States. So both movies follow the same formula, but there's a little bit of tinkering here and there to make it a little bit different. But ultimately it does follow the same sort of synopsis. So this classic I'm talking about is the 1971 film directed by Sam Peckinpah called Straw Dogs. And then in 2011 we have the remake directed by Rod Lurie of the same title. Now this is the Argentinian release, so that's why it's in Spanish, but these are the original and the remake. So what I'm going to do here, I'm going to go through each of the films and I'm going to compare them at the end and give you my verdict as to which one is better. So the two movies, as I said earlier, have the same sort of formula and idea, but a little bit of tinkering here and there that makes them a bit different. So what we have in the original, we've got a mathematician and his beautiful wife who go to a secluded cottage in England, and they're staying there so the mathematician can get a little peace. But peace is not what he's going to get, because he hires some builders to work on this roof that has been damaged. Now these builders take an interest in his beautiful wife, and as the movie progresses she is becoming more and more uncomfortable with their presence, and she ultimately, towards the end, accuses her husband of being a coward because she wants them gone but he doesn't want anything of it because he's very gentle and he hates confrontation. So these builders are making their lives even more difficult, so the husband works up the strength to fire them. So they don't take the firing very well and things escalate from there, and the husband is forced to either back down like a coward or stand up for his house and his wife. So that's all I'm going to give you on that synopsis. Then we go to the remake, which is 2011. This time it is set in the United States. This time we don't have a mathematician, we have a screenwriter for movies. And he goes to this, once again, secluded cottage in the United States with his beautiful wife. The same sort of builders come to repair a roof, and they make their lives increasingly uncomfortable. And then he is left with the same choice that the mathematician had in the original. So that's all I'm going to give you on the synopsis. It basically follows off each other. So if you want to know how this movie unfolds, please go out there and see them for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my rundowns. Now my thoughts on these films. As I said, I'll go through the original, then I'll go through the remake. The original, the one thing that made the original very, very memorable for me was the fact that Dustin Hoffman played an extremely well done character. I thought the character's progression from a gentle soul into a very sort of angry, the transformation that his character has, without giving away too much, is very, very fascinating. And I thought Dustin Hoffman's performances are one of the great underrated performances of all time. Now, I hadn't really heard too much about the film. Yes, Straw Dogs, the name did come up, but for some reason I just never took an interest. But then, being a Dustin Hoffman fan, I thought I'd finally get to see it. And I thought that, yeah, the movie does have problems, but, the performance from Dustin Hoffman makes it. And for that reason, I would recommend you go out there and check it out, because, as I said, he's such a natural at portraying such a gentle person, but when he goes to another sort of person, it doesn't seem forced. It all seems natural, so he's playing it from within, and I thought that was one of the truly great performances. And it's really a character study of someone pushed to the limits, and that how far do you have to be pushed in order to take action, and that's the ultimate sort of message of the film. And for the most part, it was done very well. Now, the supporting cast were all very good. I thought the leader of the builders was very creepy, and he had sort of a connection with the wife. Now, again, I don't want to give too much away, but that connection was very uncomfortable, and you felt, sincere danger for this married couple, and you wanted to see these builders kicked out. And you can understand and you can sympathise with the mathematician, because he wanted to go there for peace. He's not naturally a violent person. He doesn't like confrontation, but he's forced to do this. And you can really connect with this character, and I've found myself sympathising with him greatly. And when the bad things started happening, I really felt for him. So that is the biggest part that I liked about the film, and that is why the movie, it is what it is, because of Dustin Hoffman's performance. Now, I didn't like the fact that the movie drags a little bit. I thought it was a little bit too long. I thought the pacing, it goes very, very well, and then it has a little soft spot, a little soft sort of quiet patch, and then it escalates, and then it just goes down a little bit, and then it escalates. So it never really gets bogged down, but the timing and the pacing kind of takes you out a little bit, and therefore that's why I think it's a little bit overrated as far as a classic is concerned. But I can understand people considering it a classic because it is a very good character study of these types of people. Now, their cinematography very, very good, and what I liked about it again was the fact that it was very subtle. It felt realistic, and it felt like this could actually happen to you. And for that, I thought that it was a very worthy film, and although it's not in my books a classic, it is still very, very good and one I would highly recommend. Then we go to the remake. Now this remake surprised me because I actually found myself enjoying it quite a bit, and it did have parts of the film that were better than the original. Sorry, I've got a really itchy nose. Parts of it were better than the original, but then parts of it were not as good. So both films have their positives and the negatives. Now the positives to this movie is the pacing is much better. It feels like the continuity is a lot smoother, and it never really gets boring, and that's what I felt the original, lacked a little bit. The continuity, the progression, and just the smooth sort of thriller aspect to it, I thought was much better done in the remake, and therefore I could get through it a lot easier. It didn't feel like it was a chore to get through in some parts. Now, as I said, the original doesn't really get bogged down, but it has these little lull periods where it kind of takes you back a little bit, whereas the remake is more of a roller coaster. It goes very smoothly, and it escalates to a very rewarding climax, as the original did. But as I said, that progression from start to finish was a little bit smoother in the remake. My problem with the remake is the fact that it's very Hollywood. Everyone is very good looking, and the character that Dustin Hoffman plays, he felt a little bit forced. It wasn't as natural as Dustin Hoffman's performance, and that's the film's biggest fall, is the fact that the lead character was nowhere near as good as Dustin Hoffman. I never really felt sympathy for this guy. I felt that he didn't portray himself as a wimp good enough. I thought every single time that he was on screen, that he faced these challenges, I thought he was acting. I thought that he was holding back, and I really couldn't get into the shoes of this guy. And then you've got the wife, who once again, very, very good looking, and she wasn't very sympathetic as well, although in the original she's not very sympathetic, but the chemistry between the two in the original was a lot better, because you've kind of got a beautiful woman and a mathematician who's a lot quieter, whereas this couple, they're both sort of the same. They're on the same level, and when the bad things start happening, I just couldn't care for them. Then you've got the bad guy, Alexander Skarsgård. Once again, very Hollywood, very good-looking man. And I just thought to myself that, I wasn't watching the realistic film that the original was. I was watching a Hollywood remake, and that is what held me back a little bit with the film. But as I said, it's surprisingly very good, with very good suspense, as the original was, although I felt that this film had the pacing was just a little bit better. And but as I said, those sort of negatives to the film hold it from being a masterpiece. But still, as far as remakes are concerned, this one is very good, and definitely better than the crop of remakes that have been made lately. So now my verdict on the two films. Both of them have positives, both of them have negatives, and this was a very close call for me, because other films, it was pretty much clear as to which one was better. But I had a hard time trying to separate these two, because they're both very good films. They're not classics in my opinion, but still they are both very worth the effort. So ultimately, the winner of this original versus remake, based on the fact of one guy's performance, is the original Straw Dogs. Dustin Hoffman, you can't go past this guy. I thought it made up for the film, lagging in some parts. But his character study of a very gentle guy to an Avenger kind of guy, I thought that was absolutely fascinating, and it's one thing that the remake really lacked. So overall, the Straw Dogs original gets the nod over the remake, although I will say that the remake is definitely worth checking out. Alright guys, that's my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later. Bye.